and welcome to the Activity Continues podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Amy.
And this is Megan. Thanks for joining us again. This week, we are both recapping a different show. And it's a continuation of our previous episode, which was part of the Boo Pod Network series covering Bridgewater Triangle.
Yeah, when we picked this show as our contribution for the series, we were thinking we would do like a high-level recap, not like the recaps we do with the Dead Files, where we basically walk you through the whole episode, but the more we watched and took notes, we realized the story is so complex and didn't want to miss anything. So we have a lot of notes. I have shortened my version at least twice, but it's still multiple pages long. So in the episode we did last week, which was part of the Boo Pod series, we just talked about the murders. We didn't really talk about the show as much. We just talked about the murders,
the players,
the people, all the different characters. Yep. Well, not all the different characters because there's a gazillion.
Oh my God. That would be a show in and of itself.
Yeah, I know. And when I went through my notes, I actually just cut out a lot of so-and-so said and so-and-so said. And I just cut that all out because it's not all that important. People can watch the show if they want all those details. So, what else we should talk about? I wanted to mention Coffee, the website Coffee. That is like a Patreon replacement. I did lower the cost. I didn't know I could do this, but I did lower it to $3. So if anybody wanted to get in there for, to support us per month, you can do $3 now. You can do $5. You can do whatever you want. But it was at $5 and I did lower it to $3. I didn't realize before that I could do that, but I could, so I did. And then this Instagram thing is making me insane. I feel like I want to just create 10 new accounts and then follow us on with all of them, because I've been watching it until we get to hoping that we get to 1,000. So this morning I woke up, we had 1,000. I was super excited. I took a screenshot. A couple hours later, it went back down to $9.99.
Damn it.
Then at 4:10, I checked it again. It was at 1,000. Or no, it went back and forth, back and forth. I checked it at 4:10 and it was $9.99. I'm going to look at it right now. I'm going to refresh the page and we'll see where we're at. $9.99.
Damn it.
So we need 10 followers more so that it doesn't keep bouncing back and forth. I don't know if people are unfollowing us, like some people do, or they follow someone just to get them to follow them, and then they unfollow, which is a super dick move. So please don't do that, people.
Yeah, that's real shitty.
I'm sure none of our people are doing
that.
No,
they wouldn't.
No. But, and we forgot to celebrate our 5,000 downloads. We reached 5,000 total downloads.
We're the best.
This past week. And we are over 5,200 now.
That's seriously amazing.
It is.
In less than a year.
I know. It's pretty good.
We're on our way to becoming My Favorite Murder Famous. I just know it. I know
around the corner.
Yep. We're basically there.
Around the corner. Yep. And our promo partner this week is the newest member of the Boo Pod Network. It's called Certainly Strange. New podcast. Well, I don't know if it's a new podcast. New to us. And in other news, we have a sponsor.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear a little snippet about what our sponsor is, but basically it's a company called Manscaped, and we are wearing their t-shirts right now.
They're super comfy t-shirts too. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Okay. So what else should we talk about? What's been going on? Why are you so busy?
Well, I've got my class going on and getting ready for this craft fair, the December 3rd. Work, holidays coming up. It's just everything is just happening at once.
Well, the good news is that we'll be taking a break pretty soon. I think we probably only have another 1 or 2 episodes, and then we can take a break and until January.
Which is good and also bad though, because I love doing this. I love doing it. It's not that I see it as a task I have to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the end of the year is so busy.
Yeah.
We're already into November in 2 days.
I know. I can't believe it. Yeah. Tomorrow's Halloween.
I know.
Are you doing anything? Are you guys dressing your kid up?
We did. We went to a Halloween party at my husband's cousin's house last night, and he was a gorilla. So
Oh,
he was
cute.
so cute. Yeah. And running around and just being his little happy self. I was like, John was a cowboy.
Oh.
So like a hat and boots. And, you know, I don't need to tell you what a fucking cowboy is. I just mansplained what a cowboy is. Good God. These shirts, man, they do something to you.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We've been talking about balls for a while because we just recorded the ad. So we've been talking about balls.
We are having a department decorating contest at work tomorrow. So I was like super excited. And then I went over and saw my competition and they might win.
Oh,
they
really?
might win. But I got some bones, all this from Amazon. I got some bones. I got some cobwebs, which they have too. And then I got this like shower curtain, like curtain-y thing, not shower curtain, but like a curtain-y thing that looks like blood. And it's got handprints on it. So I'm going to put that over our entryway. So like you have to walk through it when you go into the department. And then I got bloody handprint window clings to put on all of our cube windows. And then my coworker has a sister who is works in medical, and so we're gonna get an old pair of scrubs. So I'm hopefully gonna do something with those.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking of getting a bunch of garbage bags and making it look like a dead body, and then like stuffing it under one of the desks or something.
Oh, okay. Fun.
Yeah, but the other department, their stuff is really good too.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. What do you win if you win?
I honestly don't know, even though I should, because I'm on the front. Oh, they win lunch on the company. So,
nice.
Yeah.
That's a good gift.
Get some Manny's, some Kincaids, maybe.
Oh.
No, it'll probably be like Chipotle or something.
Burger King.
Yeah, little BK. Have it your way. So, yeah, that's fun. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I guess we should just jump in. We don't have that much else to talk about. I guess this was kind of a shorty this time. Okay.
Yeah. What about you? What's new with you?
Oh, what's new with me? Well, not too much. Nope, I can't think of anything. We have heat.
Okay.
We have heat.
Yay. Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, the insurance company's paying for the damage that was done to the insulation and all that. So it's going to cost us about $1,000, but that's not that bad.
Could be worse.
Could be
way worse.
A lot worse. Yeah. And it's a good thing. Like I think I said before, it's a good thing Greg tested this, the heat on September 4th or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because if he had done it now, we would be sitting in the middle of December with no heat. Right. Because it was in September and this is now November.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good, smart, because we're in Minnesota and it gets real cold real fast.
It sure does. And it was when we did not have heat, it was really cold. It was like 30 some degrees at night.
So what did you do?
We had space heaters in every room and hunkered under the blankets and under the dogs and all of that. Wore 2 sweaters at a time. Oh my God. Went to work so that at least I could spend the day in the warmth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're all good. It's actually, and it's been nice. Like the last couple of days, the weather's been beautiful. So
I know. Oh my God, I can't. We had the windows open last night.
Yeah. Oh, I've had the windows open ever since our heat came back on. I sleep with the windows open in the winter just because I can't stand being hot. Or cold.
I don't.
Hot. I can't stand being hot.
If I do, it's to get cold so I can use my heated blanket, because there is nothing as delightful as a heated blanket. It is.
I do love getting under a warm blanket when I am cold, but I'm so very rarely cold.
I'm cold all the time.
Yeah. I got enough blubber to keep me warm.
See, you would think me too, but it's just weird.
Yeah. All right. No, I don't think I have anything else. So we should probably just jump in because this is going to be a bit, then
Attempted murder on a ghost, cursed paintings burning houses down, and lighthouse keepers disappearing without a trace. The world is filled with astonishing stories that will make you go and shrug, saying, well, I don't know what's going on here, but it is certainly strange. My podcast, Certainly Strange, is a collection of these bizarre tales. Each episode I tell a separate story and share my own unfiltered opinions and theories about it. If this sounds interesting to you, Come and join me on this journey through the strangest parts of our history.
Okay, so we wanted to explain about how the last episode that we did was just an overview. I did look it up. It's called, remember I couldn't figure out what that corporate speak was? It's the 30,000 foot view.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe I don't think they ever said it where you and I worked together, but
no,
other places I've worked, I had a job where I swear my boss like watched corporate videos all day to learn how to behave. He was basically Michael Scott.
Oh God.
And he used all of those stupid
corporate
terms
speak,
and all that lingo and shit. It was
circle
exhausting.
back.
Yeah. Oh my, all of it. It was really exhausting. So that's what I had in mind when I was trying to think
now
of
that you say that, I do remember them saying that. But if you hadn't said the phrase, I would be here all night. I would not have thought of it.
I Googled it while I was making the video. I was editing the video because a lot of times when we can't think of something or I get something wrong, I will correct it in the video.
Oh,
so I'll,
nice.
go there. Yeah. Okay. So, so that was the 30,000 foot view that we did our last episode.
Other corporate speak term, high level overview.
Yep. That's a good one too.
Yep.
So this is going to be the recap of the actual documentary called Fall River. So if you haven't heard that previous episode, you can go back and listen to it. You don't really have to because we will be covering all this stuff.
But if you really want to just focus on the actual crimes, then that's a good one to go to. We talk, like Amy said, we're going to talk about everything. But last episode, we just talked about the crimes. So there were 3 murders that occurred. So if you want to learn about them first and then come back, go to the previous episode that we released.
Yep. So the show is called Fall River. It's a documentary series. It aired on Epix, which is a network I'd never heard of before this. But I got a free trial so that I could watch. And then I spent too much time goofing off and I didn't get the whole thing watched in my 7-day free trial. I ended up paying for a month of it. Probably 2 months now.
Was it?
I think it was $6 or something.
Oh man.
3 maybe.
I paid it for it on YouTube and that's $16 a month.
Oh, you did
for a YouTube Premium.
Oh, YouTube Premium. Well, I should
probably stop that.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that YouTube Premium is one of the best ones to have. Like I have friends that are using that instead of Hulu.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well maybe we'll stop Hulu because Hulu's really starting to act up for us. And it's getting a little old.
Hulu's pissing me off. The only reason I keep it is that I like some of the Hulu originals that you can't see anywhere else.
They do have really good originals though.
That's the only reason.
Predator.
Oh,
that was so good.
I haven't seen that.
It was. Do you watch the Predator movies?
No, I don't think so because I don't know what that is.
Okay. It's like a sci-fi thing. It's like an alien and they come and they hunt humans.
Oh.
It's a whole movie series. It started in like the 80s. People are probably screaming at us right now.
Yeah.
Because you don't listen, which is fine. They've screamed at me before, but they did it on, I know Amy has, because she literally tells me in messaging. She'll be
Patron Amy.
Yeah, Patron Amy.
Not Amy Allen.
She'll be like I'm screaming at you, but in like a nice, fun way.
Yeah.
But Hulu did a Predator movie and it was phenomenal. It was so good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, Greg likes that kind of stuff, so maybe.
Oh,
I mean, I do sometimes, but
yeah, I don't normally like the whole sci-fi thing. Like Star Trek is not for me.
No, me neither.
But I love the Predator movies.
Okay,
they're good. So, I don't know. Oh, Hulu. Yeah, sorry. I was like, how do we get on the Predator?
How do we get all the way over there? That happens, folks. If you're new here, that happens.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back and get
back to the topic.
Yeah. So we do that. If that's annoying, you're not going to like us.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to note, and we talked about this a little bit before, but this show, first of all, bananas. There's so much shit going on here. But they have, basically the way that it works is that the filmmakers have put together the story and they've interviewed a lot of people about this topic. People
So
who lived
many.
in Fall River, people who were on the case, people who were friends with the victims, people who were friends with the alleged murderers,
people who are reporters, people who
yes.
are state, like lots of
PIs.
law enforcement. I mean,
Yeah.
you name it, they probably interviewed for this
Right.
job. I mean,
So-
this documentary.
The documentary. Yeah. So Megan texted me. She said, I screenshotted it. I'll put it up on the socials, but she was like, there's so many talking heads in here. It's ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
And then she says, like 4 retired reporters, all for the same newspaper. How many people can the Standard Times Newport employ? Friends? Did they get the fucking employee at the 7-Eleven that Robin talked to that one time? 2 Allens, too.
Yeah.
Alan, the retired detective, and Alan, the Satan guy.
Yeah.
And
Was also a retired detective.
Yeah.
But from a different town.
from the sound that he like helped with this one.
Yeah.
That guy, Alan Alves, I believe his
Mhm.
name is. He was in the movie The Bridgewater Triangle too. He was interviewed a lot in that film
Okay.
because he is a specializes in
Satan expert.
satanic stuff.
Yeah.
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 So, and as maybe some of you know, if you listened to our last episode, there is a satanic bent to this. But it is my opinion, I think that Megan agrees with me, that
Yes.
it probably was not actually,
It was
had nothing to do with Satanism or
It
satanic
was right in
anything.
the middle of Satanic Panic. Charles Manson and his goon of idiots had just killed Sharon Tate and her
Mhm.
neighbors. I can't remember their names, and I'm so sorry.
Oh,
because
I
they-
always forget their names too.
But so they were just glomming onto this, like,
Yeah.
and like we talked about before. I think the detectives had a theory and made the evidence fit
Yep.
their theory.
Yep.
It was not the other way around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll get into that, but content
Yeah.
warning,
Mhm.
everything.
Do you want to read the
Everything-
content warning? It is.
Yeah.
I did
So-
a screenshot of
Yeah,
what it
so
showed on
any-
the TV because I was like, I'm not writing all that shit down.
Okay, so this is what it has. Quote, Fall River contains graphic depictions of rape, torture, murder, abuse, drug use, including with minors, nudity, animal cruelty, and language that may be offensive to some and could be particularly disturbing to survivors of sexual violence or abuse. And they do talk about sexual assault on minors.
Mhm.
So, like, literally any trigger warning is in this documentary.
And I think I mentioned this before too, but we're going to try to not get into the details
Yes.
of that. We'll just give you the details that you need to know because they're
Mhm.
pertinent to what
happens.
what the case is and like that the fact that the murder victims were all found the same way and all that.
Mhm.
But I know my notes anyway. I left out an awful lot because I
We did.
just don't want to.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's awful, like what some of these people
It really is.
endured. So
It really is. Yeah. So we'll try and soften it for you a little bit.
Yep.
So, do you want to read the thing about Wikipedia? Or
Yeah.
the Wikipedia piece?
So from Wikipedia, Fall River is an American documentary television miniseries directed and produced by James Buddy Day. Jason Blum serves as an executive producer under his Blumhouse television banner. It follows the Fall River murders in Fall River, Massachusetts by a satanic cult. It consists of 4 episodes and premiered on May 16th, 2021.
Yep.
So it's super new.
It's pretty new, yeah.
Barely a year old.
And I am pretty sure that I read somewhere that either Netflix or Hulu are working on a show about the Bridgewater Triangle
Ooh,
and or about this particular series of murders.
that
I
would
can't
be,
They
They do it really well, I
yeah.
think.
So I
Both
think
of
it'd be
them.
kind of
Mhm.
that I assume would be like a scripted thing
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
a documentary. But this is a good show. I would recommend
is.
watching it. It's really rough. It's really, like I said, I thought I was going to be able to bang this out in like 2 days, and it took me over 2 weeks because I kept being like, I can't watch another
Mhm.
hour of that right now. I have to go do
It's
something
heavy.
else. And
It's heavy.
Yeah.
And they throw a lot of information at you.
yeah, it is. I've watched it 4 times
Yeah.
because I kept getting confused about who was where at what murder. Which murder are we talking about?
She made
And I s-
flashcards.
I did. I made flashcards with all the people on them.
Mhm.
And I still think that there's something, we'll get to it, but there's still a piece that I'm not sure that I have got right in my head. Maybe you do.
Okay.
But so episode 1 is called My Soul to Keep.
Mhm.
And one thing that was said in the very beginning, even in the trailer, I believe, is a quote where a man says, "All it takes is one spark."
Yeah.
And what he's referring to is like, all you have to do is one person has to mention Satanism, cult,
And that's
ritual, and it just flies.
Pentagram.
Yeah.
I mean, anything.
And it goes off.
And and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the show, like we said, is interviews with some of the main players, the people of the town. There's some footage from news programs back then, which are gruesome because they showed everything on the news in 1979.
Literal dead bodies, like literal dead bodies.
Yeah. That was bad.
Yeah.
I was like,
"Ah!" Can I get a warning, please?
I know.
Like, what if I'm eating spaghetti?
I
No,
know.
not anymore. Done with that.
I remember watching Bones one time while I was eating lasagna.
Well, okay. That was on
like,
you.
That was on me. That was totally on me.
You.
I was not expecting that, but I was like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. Really awful.
I'm
We're having lasagna tonight too.
Oh, man.
Maybe we'll have to watch Bones.
Oh, speaking of reenactments,
Yeah.
reenact that scene. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, and I thought this was like really telling for the whole town and everything, just to give you an idea of what this town was like. We opened with hearing a man saying, "If you're from Fall River, you've probably done some time." And he says, when you go to jail, it's like your high school reunion. You see everybody there.
Yep.
So that's kind of what this town was like. It's a, blue collar.
Mm-hmm. Nothing, not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing. No, but it was not, there were not
ritzy.
Not a lot of rich people in this town.
No.
Let's just say
we're not in Manhattan. We're not in Fifth Avenue.
No, it's a fairly small town, I believe. It's near some other larger towns, and the people, came and went to and from these towns.
Yep.
But this is the same town where Lizzie Borden's family lived. So where those murders took place. And one of the cops that we talked to a lot in this one, a detective, Sylvia, I think his last name was Alan Sylvia.
Yep.
And he says Lizzie Borden has nothing on the Fall River cult murders.
Yep. So that's kind of telling you how it was, because the Borden murders were, that was talk
horrific.
of the town.
Yeah. Of course, that was, 100 years earlier or something.
But
I don't remember.
It was gruesome.
Yeah.
Her father's head was bashed in.
Yeah.
To the point where his face was almost unrecognizable. It was not good. Yeah, we've all seen the pictures. It's not great. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So we open with Detective Alan Sylvia telling us about how on October 13th of 1979, he was called to a scene where a young girl's body was found. Young, she was about 17. So she wasn't super young, but 17 is still really young.
Yeah.
And again, we're not going to get into the gory details because it's not relevant about what was done to her. But we do need to let you know that she was bludgeoned in the head with a rock. That's how she was killed. And her skull was smashed in. And so this is the start of a pattern. This is how all three of the women were killed.
So the next day they did an autopsy. They didn't know who she was. She didn't have any ID on her or anything. So the next day they did an autopsy and did a composite drawing of her, which I didn't think looked anything like her, to be honest. But it worked because a friend of hers named John Joseph, he came forward and went to the city and made a positive ID as Doreen Levesque. It was determined that she was homeless, a sex worker, and an addict, and she was from nearby town Bedford, but she worked in Fall River because she didn't want anyone who knew her in her town to see her or recognize her doing that work. Like Megan said, she was only 17.
So one thing that really occurred to me is that it might not have looked like her to us, but we didn't know her.
Right.
So maybe it looked like her, like, oh, that looks kind of like Doreen.
Right. And the only reason we can even say it doesn't look like her, or it does, is that they have one picture of her.
Yeah.
That the cops have brought up. And it's possible that picture doesn't look like her. It's possible that if you knew her and you saw that photograph of her, you'd be like, that doesn't even look like her.
Right.
Because we've all been in photographs where we don't look like ourselves. So
yeah.
who knows? Maybe the composite was an exact match.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yep.
So in Fall River in the late 70s and 80s was crowded with drugs and sex work. And that Friday and Saturday nights, there were traffic jams, 30 to 40 women, and we use that term loosely, working the streets. And this all happened within a couple blocks of the police station. I mean, if you've listened to any true crime documentary, they talk about New York City in the 70s and 80s. This Massachusetts, you guys, they're right next door. So I can't imagine that Massachusetts in the 70s and 80s was any different than New York City. So lots of drugs, lots of sex work, that's just what it was like in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. And it sounded like people came from other towns to go to Fall River to pick up their sex
because
workers.
They didn't want to be recognized because there was such a stigma against sex work, and there shouldn't be. If people want to do that, if both parties are consenting, do whatever you want to do.
That's right.
Live your life, But anyways, I'm sorry. We'll be on our soapboxes a lot, so I'm not even going to step off it. I'm just going to stay on it.
I know, because there's a lot of shit in this that is maddening to both of us.
So one woman interviewed, she was like, how did this even happen? Because again, like we said, this was right near the police office or the police station. She thought maybe some were paid to look the other way and, paid off or bribed or whatever. And we get into how bad the police and prosecutors were later. Like,
yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It's real bad. Like so bad.
So bad. So the cops initially thought that the murderer could be a John. And and
for those of you who don't know, maybe you're innocent. A John is what people call customers of sex workers.
A customer. Yes, that's true.
I don't know why they call them that, but
I don't know either. Maybe John Doe, because it's
maybe
they hide their identities.
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
You're so smart.
Well, I just guess that shit. Who knows? So they interviewed a man named Andre Maltese. Sometimes it's pronounced Maltese. Sometimes it's Maltese. Anyway, he was a customer of this Doreen, and that was well known, apparently. And he was a suspect, and the cops said, he was a suspect at first, but, quote, turned out he was not involved. But they never get into how he was not involved or why they think he was not involved. And we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Everybody we meet in this is terrible.
Everybody's terrible. Everybody lies.
Yeah.
Like literally everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say like some of the like people in the town probably weren't necessarily lying, but we'll get to that too.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Some of them lied too.
So what they think happened is that Doreen met Carl Drew, and we'll get more into him in a minute. He was basically a pimp, and she was working for him. Detective Sylvia says that he was told, quote, Satan controls the street, end quote, and Satan being Carl Drew. Sylvia tells us that he was on the street daily. This is important, so remember that. Put a pin in that Carl Drew was on the street.
And Sylvia saw him on the street often.
Yep.
So then we meet Carl Drew. He is still alive. He is still in prison. And the film crew is interviewing him. And the first thing that he says is he's happy to get this all out here because he's been in prison for a long time, 41 years at the time of the interview.
Yeah. And
he talks about his life growing up. And it's really no surprise that he turned to the life that he did because he had a horrible life. A lot of these people did.
Great.
Honestly, a lot of these people did.
Most of them had a shit, like Robin.
Yeah.
Shitty childhood.
Yep.
Not great.
We'll get to her in a minute.
We'll get to it. Yeah. Sorry. But.
So no, that's okay. So here are the bullet points on Carl's life. Abusive alcoholic father who beat him regularly. When he was 14, when his dad was beating him, he decided he'd had enough. He beat up his father and left. Lived on the streets.
That should tell you right there that he preferred living on the streets to living in a house with his family.
14.
At 14 years old.
Yep. So then he held up a convenience store and he was caught. So he did 6 years in prison. While he was out, he was told he had to stay in Fall River, condition of his release. And so he couldn't go find a better life for himself somewhere else because they made him stay there.
Right.
And he said in the interview, this first interview, at one point he says, for some reason, people knew not to mess with anything that was mine, as if he has no idea why. Because he was a scary dude.
Yeah. He was a big guy.
Dude. He was a big guy.
He was over 6 feet tall, muscly.
He doesn't look like it now, like he's sitting down, but he just looks like a regular, like older guy.
Yeah.
But in those pictures of him from when he was 25, when this was all happening,
you don't fuck with him.
Big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not big fat, just
tall,
muscle.
broad shoulders, muscles.
He was very lean, fit. I mean, I wouldn't have fucked with him.
No.
If I saw him coming, I'd cross the street and go the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. He's scary. So he says that the girls paid him $200 a week to keep them safe on the street. And then they flashed to another woman and she's like, he wasn't protecting them. He was using them.
Yeah.
So again, we already have liars. We don't know who's lying and who's not. But, my guess is he's sugarcoating it a little bit.
Yeah. He was a pimp.
Yeah. And by all accounts, a scary dude.
Yeah.
And so I think that he's trying to be like, I helped them. I protected them.
I'm this good guy and they pinned this all on me.
Yeah. Well, and he says that the cops knew exactly what was going on and they didn't care and they allowed it all to go on. So back to why it happened 1 block away from the police station.
I mean, to be fair there was so much shit going on in the 70s and 80s illegally that I'm sure the cops didn't care if a little sex work was going on.
Right. Right.
In the scheme of things, cocaine, crack cocaine, all of that, I'm sure that they were like, what, sex work, the least of our problems right now.
Well, and also, and I'm going to have to say allegedly here, but they were customers as well.
Yeah.
So they don't want to shut it down.
No.
Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
So then a couple other people said some stuff about Carl. Detective Sylvia says how Carl's dad used to lower him into the well on their property to retrieve dead animals that had fallen in. Lower him headfirst into the well.
Yep.
He had a history of control of the sex workers and they were afraid of him. And then there's this woman, her name's Trish DeSoto, I believe. And she was a friend of Barbara Raposa, but she knew all of them. She knew all these girls. And she's what I was going to say earlier. She's the one I was like, I think she's the only one I believe. Because she seemed to be like, she really knew these people and she seemed to be on the up and up about all that. But then recently she said something in the news about one of these people that is the opposite of what she said in the show.
Yes.
But anyway.
I saw that too. Yep.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. But anyway, she said that she was friends with a lot of these girls. She said that Carl drugged them up and that and then another fall resident says that he wasn't afraid to use force and made the girls do what he wanted. So yeah, he was a bad dude.
He was a bad dude. And it's not uncommon for, I don't know if we can use the word pimps, but I don't know what other word to use. So if we're wrong, please let us know. I'm not doing it on purpose, but it wasn't uncommon for pimps to get girls addicted to drugs.
Oh yeah.
Then they have 100% control over them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically what was happening with these young girls is they would run into someone like Carl and get their drugs. They're homeless. They, ran away from their families and they get hooked on the drugs, and then the sex work comes after that because they have to
get money
to buy the drugs, but then they also don't want to do the sex work without being on drugs. So it's a cycle.
Thing.
Yeah.
So notes on some of the residents in Fall River said had a few things to say about the cops. So Trish says she had a friend who was working the streets and had a cop that would pick her up for service and not arrest her. So again, allegedly the cops were clients of the sex workers. Carl talks about how he has known parole officers and cops who have picked up girls posing as a John, and then once they get into a room, they flash a badge and tell the girls, "You'll do what I saw, or I'll take you down to the station." What I say, sorry, you'll do what I say, and then, or else I'll take you down to the station. So basically, blackmailing them into performing services for them.
Yeah, probably for free. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They didn't pay for it.
Free. Yeah. So somebody now, another law enforcement officer says all of our resources were going to the homicides. So Carl and everybody in this line of work was basically ignored until they became part of the investigation for whatever reason, which goes to what I was saying before. Like, They have murders. They have drug use. They have all of this. Sex work, it probably wasn't even on their radar.
No, it probably wasn't a big deal back then. To them.
You can't end sex work no matter how much you try.
Yeah.
So as long as people are consenting adults and they're of their own free will, let them do what they want to do. They're not hurting anyone.
Yeah. Well, until they start murdering people.
Well,
so another person we need to talk about, because the most main characters in this story
she's
are
one of the main
Carl
characters.
Drew
and Robin Murphy.
And this Andy Maltese too. But anyway, so Robin Murphy, I don't remember how I think somebody named her as being involved in this murder, and that's how they started looking at her.
Yes, Carol. Remember Carol Fisher?
Fletcher?
Fletcher.
She might
Didn't
have.
she name her? And she said she was with Carl and Robin.
I think maybe. I know. See, this is the thing. We get so confused. I'm pretty sure that Karen did too. Karen, you got to hear about Karen. She's sadly another one of the victims.
She's the one that did it. And that, you're right.
Okay. So Robin Murphy was also a sex worker wanting to transfer to being a pimp.
She wanted to get into management.
Yeah. she had goals.
She had,
She wasn't going to just be a corporate lackey. She wanted to move up the ladder.
She wanted to move up in the world.
That's right.
So,
we learned some stuff about Robin here too.
Robin, like we said, had just an awful upbringing. PI Chris Hayes, who we meet, he's the one in the beginning who said that going to jail was like going to a high school reunion. He explained that Robin was trying to be a pimp in Carl's area, and so they ended up working together, but they hated each other. Trish says she knew Robin very well. Quote, "I liked her. She was fun. She was hot shit. She was crazy and not somebody you wanted on your bad side," end quote. But I think what she means is you didn't want to be on her bad side, which 100%, because
Robin scares me.
Robin scares me too. She grew up really quickly. There was some sexual assault and incest in her family. Her older brother was continuously raping her. Her friend Catherine Hindle said she didn't care about herself because she had parents who didn't care about her.
She was basically, like we talked about, the kids in the 70s and 80s were basically feral because their parents both were working or they were single, and there was only one parent, and one parent had to work. And so, nobody was watching kids.
And we learned about her father, and he was just trash. He was just, this poor little baby girl had the people who were supposed to defend her and protect her and be there for her were either the ones hurting her or they just didn't give a shit.
Everybody failed her.
Everybody failed her. Detective Sylvia describes her as a very violent person. She got in a fist fight with a man outside of a bar and he ran away. She scared him, or she chased him with a beer bottle that she was trying to break and hit him. So she was 17 at that point. He was 25. So that gives you an idea of the badassery that she just, you didn't fuck with her. Chris Hayes says that when she was really mad, she had a rage that wouldn't quit. Sylvia says, quote, "She could eat pizza and kill you right after that and it won't bother her at all." Carl says that he disliked her right away, just her attitude. He didn't want to know her. And my thought was, oh, you mean because she would stand up for herself and you couldn't just walk all over her?
Probably.
You didn't like her? Gee, I wonder why. Trish says what she wanted, she wanted control. That's what she wanted. She didn't want to be a sex worker. She wanted to be the one calling the shots. She didn't want to have to do what she was told.
And she didn't care if you liked her or not. So she didn't care if she was a dick to you. And she had an attitude like that because she didn't want people to want to know her.
Right. And she didn't want people to control her.
Right.
So Sylvia explained that Carl was the only one in her way of controlling the whole streets and basically being the only pimp for, miles around. Both Carl and Robin had warned Doreen to stay off the streets. And because she was taking their business because she was young, she was pretty.
She didn't work for either one of them.
She didn't work for either one of them. She was an independent contractor.
That's right.
So
It's funny to think about all these people as if they were in a corporate environment.
I know.
You know?
Yeah,
But anyway.
It's so intertwined, you guys. I hope you're taking notes because
Yeah.
there will be a quiz later.
There will be a quiz. So another character here is, we briefly talked about her a second ago, but she's another victim. Her name is Karen Marsden. Actually, she's the second victim we're talking about.
Mhm. And I feel like they kind of focused a lot on Karen.
They did. Well, that's because the murder trial, the main murder trial, was her murder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they talked to one of her friends. Her name is Elaine Gibbs. And she said Karen was a great friend. Her mother was in jail. We don't know why. And there was no father present. So she lived with Karen, this woman's. Elaine's mother was in jail. Her father was not present. So she lived with Karen for a while and helped her with her son. Karen had a son. This woman called her Jay. I did some digging.
His father calls him JJ.
Yeah, his father's Joe Alves. He calls him JJ. And his name was actually Joseph John Alves. And it said that he has since passed away.
Yeah.
And I Googled him. I tried to find him. I couldn't. I found a bunch of people with that name, but I don't know which one was his.
Yeah.
Carl says that Karen worked for him for about a year. Robin and Karen were girlfriends.
As in romantic. Buddies.
Yeah.
They were romantic girlfriends.
Yes. And the woman they interviewed didn't want to talk about that relationship for some reason. Maybe it made her uncomfortable. I don't know. But there was some type of power that Robin had over Karen. And Detective Sylvia says he tried to talk to Karen about Doreen's death, but she was emotionally distraught. That I think that so when he did talk to Karen about the murder, that's when Robin's name came up. Joe Alves, who is Karen's baby daddy, says that he spoke to Karen about Doreen, and Karen told him that Carl smashed her head in with rocks and she was in fear of her life. She told her other friend that Carl was going to kill her because she had seen too much and she knows too much. And then Joe says that Karen was too scared to talk to the police. The other cop says that she was too scared of Carl. The roommate says that Carl told her if she squealed, they would, quote, party with her son, meaning drug him up. He was only 2 years old.
He was a baby. Yeah. And I mean, you'll do anything to keep your child safe. And they knew that. And they leveraged her they leveraged that against her, which is just shitty. Just terrible.
Yep.
So then Detective Sylvia talks to us about a time where he had arranged with Carol Fletcher, another sex worker.
Yeah, she's on this card, if you're keeping track.
Yes. To meet Karen at Carol's apartment in the Harbor Terrace.
Yeah.
When Karen came in and saw him, she started to scream. She said, quote, Satan knows who I'm talking to, end quote, referencing Carl, knowing that Karen is talking to the detectives. And we're theorizing that this is what started the whole Satanism cult thing. Because she dropped the S word.
Yeah. And somebody probably just called him Satan one time because he was an asshole.
As an asshole, yeah.
I mean, I had you know my friend Jody, Flip Phone Jody?
Yeah, Flip Phone Jody, yep.
I had a friend a long time ago when Jody and I were roommates, and he always called her Satan because she didn't take his shit.
Good.
She called him out on it, and so he always called her Satan. So, I mean, it's all that's all it takes, you know?
Yeah,
like they said,
one word.
Spark. And then someone goes, ooh, so this is satanic. Ooh, now let's try and find all these other things that we can make it look like it's a satanic cult. Yep. So, yeah, Sylvia says that he talked to people who knew Carl and Robin and said that Carl would take them down to the Freetown State Forest where they would worship Satan, which is probably bullshit.
And even if it is bullshit and they were Satanists, there is no really human sacrifice in Satanism.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about.
Right.
From what I know, and granted it's not much, but I'm pretty sure it's all about like free will.
Yeah. There's a few, I don't know that much about all the different
I don't either.
things. But I do know that Satanists well, maybe I shouldn't even say that because I don't know. But I know that it's not what we've all been led to believe.
No, it's not people just getting together and, cutting themselves and blood everywhere. And, it's just, that's not how it is.
Right. So yeah, the show then goes into this whole thing about Satanism, the satanic panic, and we're going to skip most of that. Yep. I think most of you know what it is, and if you don't, you can certainly find out about it.
And they do have some interviews with people who are actually Satanists. They interview Anton LaVey, who's the founder of Satanism. And he got some of his beliefs from L. Ron Hubbard, which he started Scientology. Problematic.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things that fed into this whole satanic thing was that they were finding in the forest, they were finding pentagrams and upside down crosses and stuff like that. And that was leading them to believe that there was some satanic worship going on in the forest. And then because one of the bodies was found in the forest, which we'll get to, they kind of put that all together and were like, yeah, this has, even though it was not connected at all.
No.
There was nothing.
This happened in the forest. This happened in the forest. They must be connected, even though it's a large forest.
Yeah. So, let's see. What else do we need to? Yeah, Carl apparently called himself the son of Satan. So Karen's baby daddy, this Joe Alves, says that Karen told him that Carl took her to a Best Western hotel where they tied her up and dripped blood all over her, walked around the room talking in different languages she didn't know, and there were upside down crosses hung from the ceiling. Maybe, but it would be weird.
It would be weird, but a different language she didn't know. I don't know how multilingual she was, but if they were talking in German and she didn't know German or Spanish or, just because it's another language doesn't mean they're saying anything bad.
That's right.
And it could have just been gibberish.
It seemed, well, and the whole story just seems kind of
too clean.
It's too like, oh, I saw this in a video or something. You know what I mean? Videos back then, but I mean, it seems like if you were to say, describe a satanic ritual, if someone were to ask you, describe a satanic ritual, that's probably how you describe it, even though you've never been to one. Because that's what we've been told. Yep. So anyway, Sylvia says this was not an official type cult. It was Carl Drew's self-styled creation done in order to keep people in line. Well, I do believe that he kept people in line, but I don't think he did it.
I don't think he created a satanic cult. I think he was just a big badass who would beat the shit out of you if you didn't do what he wanted you to do.
Yeah.
That's not a cult.
Right.
That's a bully.
Right. He definitely was a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of the women they interviewed, her last name was Boyle. I can't remember her first name. She was one of the reporters, one of the many, many reporters.
Oh, there were
and
so
she
many.
said they didn't have to summon the devil. Carl was the one that brought evil to their lives.
Which she's not wrong. She's not wrong. So now we get to the main event, the main murder, the one that Carl's charged for, the one that Robin is charged for, and that's the Karen Marsden murder. So February 8th of 1980, this is 4 months after Doreen, who was the first victim. She was the one who was found under the bleachers. Karen took Sylvia to a part of the forest where she says Carl said he would take her child and kill him if she didn't do what Carl wanted her to do. Sylvia says she was incoherent and crying uncontrollably, which she was probably drugged in some way. She believed that once Carl knew she'd talk to the police, they would kill her, or he would kill her. She wanted to go talk to a priest, so they, being the detectives, took her to a church, and on the way there, Sylvia called the chief of police, asking him to place Karen in protective custody. We need to keep her safe. We need to keep her and her son safe. He stated that she insisted she needed to see the priest and she didn't want to go into protective custody. And I don't know if she understood what that meant. Maybe she, by saying that, she might have thought they wanted to arrest her and not keep her safe.
I assume that usually protective custody means you go and sit in a jail cell.
Oh,
I mean, usually that's what it means. You're
Yeah.
not in trouble, but that's the only place that you're safe.
yeah.
Um,
So,
that's only if, yeah, whatever.
Right.
But,
Right.
so my guess was that she didn't want to do that.
right.
Mostly because she has a kid. I think she
Right.
lived with her grandmother at the time.
I think, yes,
So
she
I think
did.
her
because-
grandmother would have had her son.
Yeah.
So,
And they mentioned her grandmother, and her grandmother's the one that filed the missing
Yep.
persons report.
Yep.
So, so they dropped her off at the church to go talk to the priest. Detective Sylvia says that this was the last time they saw her. Next day, her grandmother filed the missing persons report.
mhm. So Harbor Terrace, you're going to hear about a bunch of times. We already mentioned it once or twice. It is an apartment building in town that they all hung out in. A lot of them lived there. And they all hung out there. That's where the police used to hang out to quote unquote get information.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing.
that's what they call it.
There's another character who lived there. Her name was Sunny Sparta. Her real name was Maureen. And she was involved in drugs. And I don't know that she was a sex worker, but she was friends with all of them. And Robin called Sunny once while the detectives were there. And then I put in my notes, why on earth were they there? Oh, wait, I found out later.
Yeah, yeah,
They were there because they hung out there.
yeah.
And they would bring these girls drugs and booze and sit there with them in an exchange for information is what that's their story.
Mhm.
Anyway, so Robin called Sunny once while detectives were there, and she said on the phone that she was involved in Karen's disappearance. And that's what set her arrest in motion.
Mhm. So then the detectives brought the detectives brought Robin over to the DA's office, and she knew state police were working out of the DA's office, and she needed a deal. So she thought she'd get a deal with the police. She went into protective custody, so the local cops weren't able to talk to her anymore. So she kind of shut that shit down.
Yep.
While in custody, she told the DA that Carl forced all of these women to worship Satan and used it to take control of their money. Was this true? We don't know.
Well, we don't know if she even said that. You know what I mean?
We don't know
Everybody's lying.
Everybody's lying.
Did she say that and it was true? Did she say that and it wasn't true? Did she never say that? The cops just said she did?
Yeah. Did she say it and she was coerced to say it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't know. We'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
Robin also says that Karen told her that Carl wanted to make an offering to Satan and that he had killed Doreen. Karen says she picked up a rock and hit Doreen, and that Carl told her that if she didn't do what he wanted, she'd be found the exact same way that Doreen had been found.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the story is that her murder was
Karen's murder.
Karen's murder was done to silence her as a witness. Mm-hmm. And Robin, in her statement, said the police knew that Karen was going to be killed by Carl, yet they never arrested him. And then they cut to Detective Silva, who says that he didn't believe her. He didn't believe her at the time. He didn't think it was real. But then I put in my notes, keep in mind this is a liar telling this story. But so is everybody in this case. So
literally everybody.
I don't know how we'll ever know what really happened. I mean,
someone could confess to murder, and I don't know if I'd believe them.
Right.
Because everything else has been a lie.
Well, and it's too bad that this was so long ago they didn't have all the forensic evidence that we would have now, or that, that somebody didn't save anything. I knew they wouldn't know to do that, but our buddy Joe Kenda did. He was saving evidence back then in the 70s and 80s when he was doing stuff long before there was any kind of DNA testing.
Even any breakthroughs in that
Right.
department. But
he saved all that just maybe someday we'll be able to. He saved that shit and solved a lot of cases, or a lot of cases were solved after he retired because he did that. So it's too bad these guys didn't do that. But anyway, so where are we now?
Robin's story.
Here's Robin's story. So this is the story Robin tells. She and Karen were walking down the street, and Carl and Carol Fletcher are in a car. They pulled up to Robin and Karen and told them to get in the car. And also in the car is Carl Davis and Willie Smith. They drive to a wooded area. Robin pulls Karen out of the car, pulls her out by her hair, pulls a bunch of her hair out.
Yep.
And then Robin says she was ordered to cut her throat. Now, this is her girlfriend.
Yeah. Her lover.
Yeah. And Robin says that Carl told them that they were offering her soul to the devil. Robin says it was a ritualistic killing.
It's really bad.
Yeah. So police found Karen's jeans, some of her hair, and only the top half of her skull. The rest of her body has still never been found.
To this day. So Hayes, the PI, says that he didn't understand what Satan worshiping entailed. He said, quote, "You could have told me that every night they drink chicken soup at 6 p.m. And I'd say, yeah, okay, end quote. To which I texted Amy, from now on, I'm going to drink chicken soup at 6 p.m. every night.
And call herself Satanist.
And call it, yeah. Carl, present day, says that he had faith in the legal system. Big mistake. That he never thought he would get set up and convicted for a murder he had nothing to do with. And to be fair, like, Carl's a bad guy. He's not a good person.
Right.
But there's literal evidence that he could not have committed this murder.
Yeah.
There's photographic evidence of him in another location at the time this murder was committed.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's kind of where, yeah.
And this was like the show as it's going on up to now. I mean, we've been interjecting our own thoughts about this as, you know, for you guys, but when we watched it, well, at least I should speak for myself. When I watched it for the first time, I'm thinking Carl Drew killed these people, and I'm on board. I'm all like this. And then he says, I never thought I would be convicted for something I didn't do. And he's like, I'm not an angel. I'm not saying I'm a good person. I'm just saying I didn't murder anybody. And here I am sitting, you know, get me for something I did do.
Right.
But not, I didn't do this. And that's where I was like, what? Wait a minute. No, this show is turning into something totally different.
It's a deep show. Like, this isn't just victim, killers, conviction, jail. Like, there are so many layers to this.
Yeah. Carl had so no, this is where I was not 100% positive. The alibi of him being at his stepmother's wedding, pictures of him at that wedding, I wasn't sure if that was Karen's murder or Doreen's murder. Was that Karen's?
I think it was Karen's.
I think it was Karen's too. But of course, all of that got thrown out of the trial. So yeah, this is where I was like, what? And then the episode ends with just a bunch of the talking heads saying different things. Yeah. And we meet his post-conviction attorney, whose last name is Cutler. I forgot his first name.
I think it's Michael.
Okay.
Is he the blonde, white-haired guy?
Kind of gray.
Yep. Yeah. With a blue shirt. That's Michael.
Yep. Okay. Michael Cutler talking about how Carl is not guilty. And then we see Chris Hayes, the PI, saying it was all made up. And then we see the investigative journalist, Michelle McPhee, say there was no evidence that connects Carl to it. And then she said the quote that I am going to probably pull out of it and play because Megan and I both laughed really hard at this. Yeah. She said, she's talking about Carl. This is somebody who's insane, barbarically nuts. And whether he did it to offer souls to Satan or he did it because he's a deep-rooted wackadoodle, I don't really think there's a big difference there.
Yep.
So, and then Trish says, who's already been talking about, you know, shit-talking Carl this whole episode, she says, everybody knows it wasn't him. Everybody. And then they
bombshell,
Robin admitting that she lied about everything.
Yep. She lied about the satanic aspect of it. She lied about killing Karen. She lied about what was done to Karen. Everything was a lie.
Yep. And that's how that episode ends.
Yep. Support for the activity continues is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for all your grooming needs. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million, with an M, million individuals worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code ACTIVITY at manscaped.com. Nailed it.
So the holidays are approaching, and it's time for shopping for the men in your life.
And I don't know about you, but my husband is so hard to shop for. So if yours is the same, consider Manscaped. We are partnering with this company, and our guys got to try out their Performance 4.0 package, which includes 2 types of trimmers, deodorant, and toner.
The regular shaver trimmer is called the lawnmower. This is one thing I think is so funny. Their names for everything is hilarious.
That's real. Their names are really good too.
Very clever. This is a 4th generation trimmer, and it features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. And thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4,000 LED spotlight, 4,000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave.
The nose and ear hair trimmer is called the Weed Whacker, and a more apt name has never been for my husband. It's so waterproof, and it provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in his delicate nose holes. Which
Nose holes.
One anecdote. So for right before our wedding, my husband got his ears and nose waxed.
Oh.
So the ears got waxed and it got stuck. And so the tech pulled it out, and she's very nice. I go to her all the time, and she's Asian, and she goes, "Oh, fuck, you weeding." And she and I just busted out laughing, and I feel so bad. But this did not happen with him. Like, he said it was so smooth, and it was just so good.
Yeah, Greg liked it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we on now?
The crop preserver.
I had to move it down so I could see you. So the crop reviver is their ball toner. And Greg was like, I didn't know my balls needed to be toned, but you don't know until you know.
You don't know what you don't know,
You don't
Greg.
know what you don't know. Exactly. So he used it one morning, and then he walks in the room and he goes, "Do you hear that? That's the tone of my balls."
Okay.
Oh boy.
In addition to the crop reviver, we also have the crop preserver, which is their ball deodorant. And John said it went on super, super smooth.
Nice. I told Greg that he didn't have to shower every day if he used that, but
I would not say that to John. He already showers every couple of days, and I'm like, okay, well, you ripe, like, happen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to put that deodorant all over.
Just, hey, I'd rather
not
have
just the balls.
Yeah, I'd rather have this than Axe body spray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, ball deodorant for their balls. Oh, there it is. I thought it was ball deodorant, like deodorant in the shape of a ball.
Oh, like a roller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
There it is.
No.
I got there.
It's it's all about the balls.
That's
with
true. Why would they
Manscaped.
focus on the armpit?
All about the balls. I mean, I'm sure you can use it on your armpits too.
Like,
So-
probably, yeah.
Manscaped also threw in a couple of gifts for free. The boxer briefs, which Greg loved. They're super
So
soft.
did John. John, I mean, he went on and on and on about these briefs.
Yeah. They're really soft and they look
Mhm.
cute too.
Yeah, they do.
And all of this comes with a little travel case. Actually, it's a good size travel case. All the stuff fits in there. Travel case. It's kind of leather looking. I don't think it's real leather, but and they call it the shed. So everything, all your lawn tools, they go in the shed.
Right in the shed.
Yep. And then it also came with this newspaper that for the video folks, you can see this. We save balls is the headline. And then it's just got like silly ads and stuff and like little cartoons. But it said that somewhere in here, it said, go to page 2 to look for ideas for how to shave your frontal region. And I just have to show you that.
Your pubis area.
Yeah. Because I thought this was pretty fun. And I hope it's a joke.
Well, okay. Oh, I love the crown.
They're all different shapes. One of them's the Twitter bird. One's the Facebook thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yep.
One's just a flower. One's, what is that?
One's like a-
original.
Yeah. One's like 4 hearts.
Yeah.
You
I
would
think
have
it's
to be.
supposed to look like a 4-leaf clover.
Oh yeah, because
And
you
then
get lucky. Oh, vomit on my shorts. Okay.
And then one's a crown.
Yeah.
So anyway, silly, funny, cheeky. it's a great gift. Like that whole
Mhm.
package would be a great gift for somebody. But if
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
want to splurge on that, you don't have to. You can just buy the trimmer or just buy the boxer shorts or whatever.
Mhm.
And because we are partnering with them, we have this promo code. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code activity for 20% off and free worldwide shipping.
Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code activity at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping anywhere in the world at manscaped.com and use use code activity. Unlock his confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave.
The nose and ear hair trimmer is called the Weed Whacker, and a more apt name has never been for my husband. It's waterproof, and it provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in his delicate nose holes, which
Nose holes.
one anecdote. So for right before our wedding, my husband got his ears and nose waxed.
Oh,
So the ears got waxed and it got stuck. And so the tech pulled it out, and she's very nice. I go to her all the time and she goes, "Oh, fuck you, weeding." And she and I just busted out laughing, and I feel so bad. But this did not happen with him. Like, he said it was so smooth and it was just so good.
yeah, Greg liked it too.
Mm-hmm.
The Crop Reviver is their ball toner. And Greg was like, I didn't know my balls needed to be toned, but you don't know until you
don't know. You don't know what you don't know,
You don't
Greg.
know what you don't know. Exactly. So he used it one morning, and then he walks in the room and he goes, "Do you hear that? That's the tone of my balls."
Okay.
Oh, boy.
In addition to the Crop Reviver, we also have the Crop Preserver, which is their ball deodorant.
I told Greg that he didn't have to shower every day if he used that. But
I would not say that to John. He already showers every couple of days, and I'm like, okay, well, you right. Like, happen.
oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to put that deodorant all over.
Just, hey, I'd rather
Not
have,
just the balls.
yeah. Oh my God, ball deodorant for their balls. Oh, there it is. I thought it was ball deodorant, like deodorant in the shape of a ball.
Oh, like a roller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
There it is.
no.
I got there.
It's it's all about the balls.
That's
with
true. Why would they
Manscaped.
focus on the armpit?
All about the balls. Manscaped also threw in a couple of gifts for free. The boxer briefs, which Greg loved. They're super
So
soft.
did John. John, I mean, he went on and on and on about these briefs.
Yeah. They're really soft, and they look
Mhm.
cute too.
Yeah, they do.
And all of this comes with a little travel case. Actually, it's a good size travel case. All this stuff fits in there. Travel case, and they call it the shed. So everything, all your lawn tools, they go in the shed.
Right in the shed.
Yep. And then it also came with this newspaper that, for the video folks, you can see this. "We save balls" is the headline. And then it's just got like silly ads and stuff and like little cartoons. But it said that it's somewhere in here. It said, go to page 2 to look for ideas for how to shave your frontal region. And I just have to show you that.
Your pubis area.
Yeah. Because I thought this was pretty fun. And I hope it's a joke.
Well, okay. Oh, I love the crown.
They're all different shapes. One of them's the Twitter bird. One's the Facebook thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yep.
One's just a flower. One's, what is that?
One's like a-
Original.
Yeah. One's like 4 hearts.
Yeah.
You
I
would
think
have
it's
to be.
supposed to look like a 4-leaf clover.
Oh, yeah. Because you
And then
get lucky. Oh, vomit on my shorts. Okay.
And then one's a crown.
Yeah.
So anyway, silly, funny, cheeky. It's a great gift. Like that whole package would be a great gift for somebody. But if you don't want to splurge on that, you don't have to. You could just buy the trimmer or just buy the boxer shorts or whatever. And because we are partnering with them, we have this promo code. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code activity for 20% off and free worldwide shipping.
Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code activity at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping anywhere in the world at manscaped.com and use code activity. Unlock his confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Amy, what is our Alanism for this week?
Well, this one I picked because there's so much talk of drugs and stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
And my dad used to he used to belong to a theater troupe, a theater company, and it was called Bloomington Civic Theater. That's BCT is what they called it. And my mom was in there too, and all their friends that I still know. And he was reminiscing about the theater to Jackie, his wife, and he said everybody overdrank to weigh extremes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And very fitting for this episode.
Yeah. So we will see you next time when we discuss episode 2.
Hopefully 2 and 3.
Or 2, yeah, maybe 2 and 3, maybe 2, 3, and 4, maybe just
Maybe.
2.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I think we bit off a lot more than we thought we could chew with this one.
I think we did, and I think also I cut so many things for this one because they were mentioned in the last one. So I'm going to probably have to splice some of that in. We didn't even talk about Doreen being found. I mean, not that we talked about Sylvia saying that she was found and that, but we didn't talk about that she was behind the bleachers. We didn't talk
that she was nude.
That she was nude, that her hands were tied. So yeah, well, I'll pull that in from what we talked about last time.
Theoretically, they would know that if they listened.
Yes, that is
true.
But
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I probably should have recapped it. Yeah. I'll look over my notes again. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of the Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds podcast network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.